No. Welcome to the Life Beyond Sunday podcast. Today I'm joined by
Davis,
Nick,
Hayden, Parson,
and my name's Harrison. And today we're doing a very special episode on Gluttony and Sloth, but we have a little guest, and he can go ahead and walk in. Let's get a drum roll going.
Yes, sir. Welcome.
When you can, introduce yourself for the audience.
I'm Daulton Southern. I'm 25 years old, and I've gotten to know each and every one of these guys through our church, Compassion, and I'm just thankful to be here. And
Let's get right into it.
Daulton, well, thank you again. We're excited to have you. Excited to hear your story. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm very excited to hear it. Thank you again for being on. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Yeah, man.
For sure. Little bit about me. Born and raised in Louisiana in a small town, very similar to this one. Good people, grew up in church. My dad was in the military. My mom worked hard. She's a nurse.
I'm just going to do that for you real quick.
Okay. Grew up in a small town, very similar to this one. My mom was a nurse. My dad was in the military. And pretty normal kid. Grew up in church. My mom sang on the praise team. And from there, high school, like everybody else's story, on fire for God. Middle school, youth trips, all this. And then just slowly started to get further and further from God. Always prayed and stuff like that, but I've never been a strong reader anyway, so reading my Bible has always been a struggle.
Can relate to that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But doing better.
Praise the Lord.
From there, on fire for God, middle school, started hanging out with not so good influences. And really, I say where my testimony starts is probably high school somewhere. Partying all the time, drinking, going to parties, all the cool stuff the world tells you is cool.
The high school movie stuff.
Yeah, it's not cool.
Yeah.
But you find that out later in life as you grow up. And married, got a beautiful wife. Thank the Lord that I'm not in that anymore.
Yeah.
But my real struggle that I had to realize and accept was alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I partied, military, which is tough being in the military and not living a tough lifestyle of, drinking, being a man, everything the world tells you is being a man, right? But high school got in with the wrong crowd, partying, drinking, that became my identity.
Yeah.
Right. So, staying out, partying all the time, and drinking. Probably now I'm going on 6 months, over 6 months, 7 months. Not a single drop of alcohol. That's not even a single beer.
Praise God.
Let's give him a hand for that, fellas.
It's an accomplishment, and I can honestly say that the only way I've been able to do that is my wife and God. Obviously, I just pray that God would take the desire from my heart, and for the people out there that might watch this, or if y'all knew me back then, y'all would be like, wow, like there's no way this guy is not drinking.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of comes to a shell shock to a lot of people, when they see me. It's only been 7 months, but there's so many of those people that you have in your life that you don't see for, a year or, 8 months, 7 months, whatever. And they see you and they're like, hey man, you want a beer or whatever, you want to drink? Yeah. And you're like, no, I'm good. I don't drink anymore. And they're like,
it's like they only remember that past, past version.
Yeah. Right. And, but my testimony is is very powerful because it really had a hold on me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, from high school, I didn't slack up, man, from high school until, you know, probably a year ago, started toning it back. Obviously, I got married. I've been married for a year now. But it was just, you know, I was one of those people that I couldn't go to the golf course and
Without drinking?
Without having a beer.
yeah, well, not just without drinking, not like without having a beer. Like, man, I couldn't. From the time I was there, it was let's see how many beer we can drink.
Yeah.
You know, and I've never been one of those guys that has moderation. You know, like, well, I would, right, because I would go and I get really drunk and feel bad, like everybody does, and then they say, man, I'm never drinking again. I'm never drinking again, man. That's awful.
And then a week later, you're like, oh,
And then a week later, you do it again. Man, I'm never drinking, you know. But for me, it was, you know, I would go a couple of weeks and, you know, we're going out to eat with the wife. I'm only going to have a beer or two.
Yeah.
And I would do that. And then 2 weeks later, when we would go have the same dinner, now I was drinking 4 beer.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, it's a never ending cycle. And
right
you're
back
getting
to it.
drunk all the time.
Slightly increasing
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah,
you go
every
out.
single time, man. So, and there's consequences to sin, right?
Yeah, there are.
So you get wrapped up in the sin, you get wrapped up in the world, and then it either takes, you know, a massive shift for you to say, okay, I'm done. I'm giving it up. Like
The rock bottom.
I can't. Yeah, rock bottom.
Yeah.
And you know, that's kind of my story. Nothing crazy happened or anything.
Yeah.
You know, like life altering, detrimental. Nobody died or anything. But you know, my relationship with my wife, and you know, it was just not good, man. My wife is not a big drinker. She's just not. She's not a big drinker. I was.
Yeah.
And she had self-control. I did not have self-control. And so just prayed for God to take that desire from me, that love for it. And man, I put my whole identity into alcohol. Every time that I opened the grill, you know, I would have to justify, you know, I'm a man, I'm grilling, you know, I want a cold beer while I grill, just justification after justification. And for everybody, it's different. You know, it's not a sin to drink, obviously, but it is a sin to be drunk.
Yeah.
And my whole testimony revolves around, you know, not having self-control.
Yeah.
And thankfully, the Lord has taken that desire from my heart.
Yeah.
And I've always played instruments. I'm not the best, but I've always played instruments. And, you know, for the past 3 years, really, I've wanted God to use me. And I would never get up on stage. I would never do anything like this. If I was going to go have a beer later, that's just my heart. That's how I was raised.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get up on stage and do something and then
go and
you see me tonight drinking a beer, right? Because that just don't set. Not that I'm a preacher or anything.
just doesn't sit right.
Yeah, it just doesn't set right with me.
You didn't really feel like you were worthy enough to be able to do that.
Yeah. I wasn't going to go play guitar on a Sunday. And then on a Sunday night, you see me out having a beer, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just a personal thing.
Yeah.
But
And then it's also like knowing where you come from too, and like knowing that you struggled with it before probably makes it feel a lot more convicting in that sense.
Yeah, 100%. And a big part of it for me was, you know, a pride thing. Like as a man, like I can have a beer. Like it's ridiculous that I can't have a beer, you know.
Like, did you think if someone was like trying to go away from that, like it was weak because they were a man? It's like, oh, you're a man, just drink beer.
Yeah. Well, I say No, I've never been one of those kind of people. If somebody's like, I don't drink, I always thought that's kind of cool, but I've always, in a certain sense too, I guess, insecurity at the same time, thinking like, oh, he thinks he's better than me.
Oh yeah.
Type thing, like, oh, he doesn't drink,
Yeah.
I got a question. When you said like when you would go to church and you wouldn't drink after, did you feel like you had two separate identities, like an identity when you were at church and then the identity that you had when you were struggling with that addiction?
Well, no, not necessarily, because, I've always believed in God.
Yeah.
I've always, prayed. I've always believed in God, and that's been my foundation and my roots, at church, go to church, and that's fine and all, but there was no conviction as to living like a sanctified life. There was no conviction. I didn't mind going to church, and then I didn't mind going to the golf course and playing golf and drinking beer after, right? But because I'm not in a leadership position or whatever, it got really bad for a while. My first year of marriage was very tough, and we struggled a lot. Thankfully, I've got a wife that believes in God and prayed for me and has helped me along the way. And seriously, without my wife and God taking the desire, and all the people, I know my grandmother and everybody else praying for me too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
In a simple, I guess, short context of my testimony, just God delivered me from alcoholism.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. I got a lot of friends and a lot of family that still live in that and, aren't living to their full potential or, stepping up to be the men that God called them to be. So I'm super excited to be able to kind of reach those guys and my personal friends and family that are struggling with that. Because if anybody would look at me and be like, oh, if he can do it, I know I can, because I was about as bad as they come,
It's powerful.
But that's
really
pretty much my short form testimony, is just living for the world, and
Amazing.
And now I'm free, right? And excited for it.
Amen.
Damn you, brother.
Can we go to back to the beginning of your testimony? Because you said you grew up in the church, right?
Right.
So I feel like a lot of new believers feel like just because I grew up in the church, I'm saved and I'm not going to struggle with sins that others struggle with in this world. Can you kind of talk about how, like, you growing up in the church, you were still struggling with those sins and those temptations?
Yeah. So my mom sang on the praise team. I was one of the kids that was with the pastor's kids that were always there early, always had to stay late, that kind of thing. But my mom and my dad split up. I was 11 or 12 years old, and that's kind of when I moved in with my dad. We would go to church, but it wasn't like a mandatory thing. And just absence from God is, I say absence. The absence from God is the equivalent to, being around evil, right? So that I always believed in God. I always prayed. Just that gap.
That relationship.
The more I distance myself from God, the further away, I was. But
and you said that kind of led you to not really feel that conviction.
Yeah, to not really feel, that conviction, just kind of stagnant, just going through the motions of life, growing up, and then
Totally get that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, but
I was gonna say that's also sometimes a really scary feeling too, when you are at that place where you're kind of stuck in those things and you don't feel that conviction. Like I feel like sometimes that's a sign that it's like, this is getting pretty bad. It's pretty similar to like the rock bottom feeling. It's like, I never thought I'd be like this. Like I never thought I'd get to this point.
Right.
And that's like, I kind of resonate with your testimony too, because like for me, it took me reaching a rock bottom to where I would compromise to an extent to where, it's okay for me to do this because so-and-so. And then like I had the faith in myself rather than in him, that like, I can just do just one piece and it won't lead to anything. And then eventually a year later, I'm doing something I told myself I'd never do.
Right.
And it's like, wow, Like I never could have seen this. Like that's how powerful sin can be if you let it have a hold on you. And it's like, I was doing things I never thought I'd ever do.
Right.
And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, Lord, I need you to save me from this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy to look back on it now, but that's a powerful message, dude.
I think the cool thing about it too was like, if you didn't have the like God-fearing people around you that realized what you were going through, that realized it was a problem, and you just kept living in it, you would probably still be where you were back then, like now.
No, or dead, or in jail.
Like you needed people,
You know,
around
and I mean, you know, that's where
Reality
it was headed. You know, when you're not convicted over things like that, and you're hard headed, and you don't learn lessons very well. You know, there's
it only gets worse.
dead or in jail.
Did it take something to happen in your life for you to realize that you were dealing with that sin?
My wife, really, you know, my wife and me and my wife have been together for a long time.
So she was with you even like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was right in the middle of it. And, you know, that's me staying out at the golf course and drinking all the time and, you know, wanting to be with my buddies, wanting to be with the world, not being a godly Christian man, not being a leader of my home, you know, calling myself a leader because, I make all the money. I pay all the bills. I do all that. But am I leading like a man of God should lead? Absolutely not. Am I meeting my wife's needs? Absolutely not. I'm worried about having fun and, you know,
Just paying the bills.
You know, I'm making the money. I'm paying the bills. I'm going to have fun and enjoy myself. Just making an excuse for, you know, your sin, right? Because you want to continue to live in it.
Just finding that compromise.
Right.
To worry about all the worldly things instead of living the life that you know the Lord has called you to live.
Right. Exactly. To circle back around though, yes, it took my wife, you know, pretty much saying like, you got to fix something. I can't live in this. And I mean, that's what it was for me starting out. You know, I don't want to lose my wife, but then as you take a step back, and you're finally out of it, you know, even if it's a forced thing, you know, kind of like an ultimatum, once you're out of it, you kind of start to see, right?
See it differently.
And that's when I grew up in church. Like I said, I knew that, you know, I had to get right with God and that, you know, he would show me the way. And that's what happened. I was pulled out of it for a little bit. And then, man, I started to realize, man, I feel better. I'm way happier. My time, I'm not hung over, you know, wasting a Saturday or whatever, you know, that time is now spent with my wife or we're going and doing something, hanging out with you guys, with friends, getting real fulfillment and enjoyment out of my time and, you know, my life.
That's great.
So let me ask, I think we can all agree alcohol is pretty normalized.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
So
Especially nowadays.
what would you say to somebody that just, that's how they see it? It's normal. Everybody does it. Just to try and help somebody.
So for me, I would say if you don't want to be a drunk or you don't want to be an alcoholic, don't mess with it at all, right? It's like playing Russian roulette.
I was about to say,
You can have one beer.
And then the next
I might be an alcoholic that drinks myself to death or that
you just have one, like it's going to start that.
Well, and I don't think it's necessarily about having that one. I think I could have one beer. It's just off the table. It's non-negotiable. It's not an option because I never want to go back to that or revert back to that. Exactly. But if I had one thing to tell anybody is like the wages of sin is death. Like if you want to go down that road and try it, my advice is just don't do it at all. Get your fulfillment and your joy from the Lord. Like that's how you should get your fulfillment. Be set apart, be different. You know, everybody tries so hard to be different nowadays because being different is cool. Well, like live for the Lord, you know, be set apart, be different. It is cool.
It is.
And I think when you further your relationship with him too, he'll kind of make you realize like things like that are normal, like aren't normal.
Right.
Like he'll put that feeling in you and be like, oh wow, this doesn't like I don't think I should do this.
Yeah.
Right. But the world's saying it.
Oh yeah, the world's
exactly.
like showing it on social media and all kinds of things. Like it's just such a normal, even in like especially in the South too. Like it's such a normal thing for a family to just like sit and drink.
I would say not only
like
is alcohol in general normal, but like overconsumption, like what we're talking about, is normal too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like going out and not just having one beer, but having like a dozen.
Yeah. Overconsumption.
Yeah.
Overconsumption is cool to get messed up. You know,
It's cool to be able to drink 12 beers.
That's the
Still be
social
standing.
norm.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, how many can you drink? Can you drink a case? All this. And it's just
It's got to be a competition.
it's always.
Mm.
And I also think it's kind of cool how that like blends in with go ahead. I just lost my train of thought. I'm just gonna keep it honest. I had something, I swear. I lost it.
It's okay. You're good.
But I would
Yeah,
say, like,
that's
how would you go to someone that has dealt with it their whole life? They see their parents, their parents are alcoholics, and they've grown up with it their whole life, so they think it's normalized. What would you tell someone like that?
Man, that's not normal.
Yeah. No, it's not.
I mean, that's the only thing you can say. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not normal. The world makes it so normalized.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not normal.
Right.
It's really not.
Yeah.
And whether it's from a Christian aspect, a God aspect, which everything should be, or it's not, like, what are you doing with your time? Are you bettering yourself or are you tearing yourself down? You
Are
can
you- are you-
positive or negative. There's only two, right? I mean, you're either getting closer to God and you're growing in that relationship, or you're getting further away.
Would you say it's also kind of who you hang out with too? Like if you hang out with people that
100,000,000%, you are a product of your surroundings. You are a product of your surroundings. And I'm a finance guy. I listen to a lot of finance gurus and stuff like that. You know, they all say the same thing. You know, they all say the same thing. You know, you hang around millionaires, you'll start to think like a millionaire, whatever, da 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 da. And then you got the other end of the spectrum, but you are a product of your surroundings.
I was gonna say the one I hear a lot is show me your 3 closest friends and I can tell you where you're gonna be in life in the future.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's just a very true thing.
Yeah.
Whoever you are constantly in conversation with every day, getting advice from, just that's what you're gonna be. And like we talked about Mother's Day today and talking about like how your household, the soil of your household is how you're gonna, like that's the heritage that's passed down to you. And I mean, I think that's just part of it. Who you're around is what you're going to be like. And you have to surround yourself with a godly community. And that's one of the things I'm very grateful for, is like having you guys, having our church. Like it's a huge help.
I mean, same.
in the process.
And dude, our church and our church family and you guys and young adults, like I probably wouldn't be where I'm at. Well, I say I would not be where I'm at today unless it was God some other way than the community that me and my wife have surrounding us. Other guys that don't drink that I can go hang out with and not have to drink. You know, watch the ball games with guys that can watch the ball games and enjoy being with me, other than, bro, come watch the ball game because I don't want to drink beer by myself.
I want you to drink with me.
I want you to drink beer with me. That way I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, you're a great time when you're drinking, dude. I want you to come watch the ball game versus, hey, man, I want to spend time with you. Let's watch the ball game. You know?
There's a big difference there.
Yeah.
A huge
It's so normalized today. Like, if there's an event or something, people feel like they need to have alcohol there. Let's have alcohol here. We'll get more people to come, but it doesn't need to be like that. It doesn't need to be normalized. You don't have to have alcohol wherever you go to have fun and be able to be in community with each other.
That's what I was going to say. Some people are just like so overly consumed in it that's like the only way they can have fun. Like they can't genuinely sit down and just go have a night out with friends and just conversate. Like they have to be drinking. Like they have to have some form of just numbing of what they're doing.
I've come from that before and it sucks.
It's like, I mean, it's like one of my buddies from my hometown, marijuana's the thing for him. And like, he's always like, it's gotten so bad to where he doesn't have an appetite to eat because unless he's high. And like, that's the only way that he'll eat food is if he smokes before it. And like, I hung out with him this past summer and like, I'd be like, yo, like, let's just go get some food or something. And he's like, nah, man, I can't eat right now. I'm like, why? He's like, I hadn't smoked. I'm like, or like, you can't eat? And he's like, yeah, no, I don't have an appetite. And I was like, what do you mean?
Bro, I'm hungry.
And I was like, and he's told me like multiple times, like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna quit. It's like, all right, like I'll hold you accountable to it. And then like I'll see him the next time. He's like, nah, man, like I gotta go smoke. I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
But then there's this, I just don't know what to do with that too. Sometimes it's like, I don't know how to help you out.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, you know, I had a problem, but I never had a problem. Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
You felt like you had
Because he'll tell me, he's like, I can quit tomorrow. And I'm like, then do it.
Deep down inside,
exactly.
you know you have that problem, but you don't want to vocalize it to others and let others know you're actually struggling.
right. And a lot of that comes from pride,
Yep.
being a man.
Yeah. Don't
Oh,
share
you're
your
weak.
problems. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and just even accepting and acknowledging that you have a problem
Yep.
is step one.
That's the first
Yeah.
step.
You know,
Well, we were at our young adults the other week, and some guy came in. He was talking about that, like sin and whatnot. Like, there's a lot of sin and problems. Like, you aren't going to really be able to start that first step of getting over it until you like confess it
Yeah.
you're right.
and being able to give that to God. Because if you try and do it in your own power, you're not going to be able to do it.
No.
And that's like he was saying, like, you can't heal from something that you don't know is there. Like,
Exactly.
if you're not acknowledging it as a problem, you can't heal from it because you don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
And so I think vulnerability and just like having someone that you can go to and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the first step.
And having someone that can acknowledge it, like you
Yes.
said, like for your wife, it took her being like, this is an issue for you to kind of lock in.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? So,
Saying that, though, I mean, as bad as it is to say, I think some people have to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
and that's, it took me learning a lesson to quit drinking and smoking. I mean, that's just the truth. It took me hitting the lowest I could hit, me not being able to move in my car from a panic attack so bad to just give up on weed in general.
Mhm.
So, like, as bad as it is to say, I think it was Philip Anthony Mitchell say, pray them into the hands of the devil.
Yeah.
Pray them into the hands of the devil to show them that they have a problem so that they want to change.
Yeah.
Because you can't change unless you want to change.
sometimes you
Nobody
gotta
can
do
flip that switch for you.
That's it.
It's
If
gotta
you
be a
don't
personal
really want to
decision.
change,
Yeah.
as much as you say I have a problem and all of this, if you don't want to change,
Yeah.
you won't.
You won't.
And you just keep making excuses.
That's it.
Mhm.
Keep compromising. And it's like some people, they just are like, they're so just overly consumed by it. And it's like, that's the Lord of their life is their flesh. And it's just a scary thing.
A lot of people in today's world think change is bad.
They do.
They're
Oh,
against
definitely.
change. There's so many people that's just against it, and
It
it's
goes
not
against human
normalized.
nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're so routine based.
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
like,
I got to do this, and this.
and then whenever something breaks that up, you're like, oh no, I can't do that.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
I get in the habit like that. I feel like through my daily routines, I feel like I got to do this, and this, and this. And then sometimes I'll catch myself like not going into scripture and asking God how he can lead me to what he wants me to go after in life. And I think that's amazing. I was thinking about that, like with my story off of your testimony. I put a lot of my stuff into other people, idolizing other people and thinking I needed to be like other people and trying to focus on worldly things instead of focus on godly things that could lead me to him. So I really like that. Are you able to tie all that in?
But one thing that you said earlier about, you know, like having alcohol at the events and stuff like that. And I see things a whole lot different now that I'm out of it. But like, think about how my wife felt when we would go out anywhere and it's like, I'm not even good enough for my husband to just enjoy my time. Like, he's got to get drunk. Like, we can't spend time together.
Yeah.
We can't just sit and,
That's pretty tough when you're out of it to think, you know, that's heartbreaking.
like, you can't just sit there and have a conversation with
Yeah. Like, am I not good enough?
yeah, that's a whole different
that's
side of it too.
Yeah.
Once you realize how it affected the people around you, not just you in general.
Yeah.
It's a whole
Absolutely.
different episode we could
Been
get
there.
into.
That's a whole.
And I mean, man, I've lost friendships over it.
Yeah.
You know, because you're out of your body, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
You're not. I've lost friendships over it. I've hurt family over it. You know, it's just it takes you realizing that you have a problem and accepting it, and the only you can make the change, and it's going to be
And I mean,
not. I say not impossible, but I mean the Lord took the desire from my heart.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's some of the consequences you have to face. So if you're so overly consumed in something, you're just so susceptible to not being in the right mind, falling into sin. And like, that's the stuff it leads to, is hurting people. And I mean, that's one of the things that led to me sitting in the car crying for like 2 hours, begging God why. I was like, I never thought I'd be here. Never saw myself sitting here crying, begging. And then I mean, luckily that Sunday is the day that somebody came and grabbed me out of the chair and I got baptized and got saved. And that's just the way it goes. Like,
That's correct. And that's the way God works.
And I'm like, I mean, it's that quick. And he's like, you finally called out to me? Come home. And he's like, just the next day, I was like, holy crap. This is insane.
That's the way God can speak to us. He can speak to us through other people. A lot of people don't realize that. They feel like they have to intentionally hear God talk to them.
Yeah.
But I feel like also I hear it a lot of times from the Lord talking to me through other people in my life.
Yeah.
Like he leads me to those people for a specific reason so they can impact my life and I can also impact their lives.
Yeah.
But do you feel that partially that is because you're living in the will of God and God guides your steps and brings those people across your paths?
Yeah.
No, definitely.
Yeah. It has to start by picking up his word and admitting that you can't live this life without him.
Right. Yeah.
That's good.
I did remember what I was going to say.
This is getting
I was
deep.
like,
I'm loving it.
come on now.
I'm loving it.
I'm a quick crier too. I'll be
Okay,
It don't take long for me.
Don't cry,
It
Nick.
don't take long for me. But no, I did remember what I thought about earlier when I lost my train of thought. But
Hit us.
we were talking about kind of the sense of for some people there's no casual drinking, as in a sense.
Yeah.
Yes, there are some people that are kind of gluttonous about it and they're overly consumed in it. And when I think about trying to be a model as a Christian and trying to live more Christ-like, yes, it's not a sin to drink, but also if you're in a restaurant and say somebody in like our young adults or something, or just somebody in general who has struggled with alcohol,
or say me,
or or somebody that alcoholism is their thing that they're consumed with. That's what they're gluttonous about. Like they come in and see somebody who's supposed to be this, like they're known to be Christian. They live Christ-like. They talk it. They try to live it. And then they're in there drinking beer on a Sunday night or so, any day. Like they're in there getting drunk. Not even getting drunk. We could be having casual drinks, but it's just the principle of someone that truly struggles with that, and alcoholism is their stronghold that has a grasp on them. And they see somebody that they know is Christian, living Christ-like, drinking beer. They're gonna be like, oh, so then what I'm doing is fine. Yeah, like what I'm doing is good. And it doesn't matter if that's only our first drink. Like that's our casual drink. All they see is us drinking beer, and they're like, okay, so me drinking beer is fine. And they don't really think about how they're doing it. They just think about, oh, I see a Christian drinking beer, I can drink beer.
I was at a Carolina game one time, and y'all know the people that stand outside the games with the sign that says "Repent or you're going to hell." I was drinking, I was holding a beer, and it really was only my second beer. And I walked up to him and I said, "Let me ask you." I said, "Is this wrong for me to be drinking a beer at this game?" And he told me straight up. He said, "It might not be wrong for you, but." And me and him stood and talked for like 45 minutes before I asked him that.
Yeah.
He said, "But if you're sitting here having this conversation with me and you want people to see the Lord through you and you want to do all this," he said, "What if somebody walks by our conversation, stands here, gets what you're saying about the Lord, and then they see you with a drink and they go and buy a drink in the stadium and then they get drunk, forget everything you said?"
Yeah.
So the way I see it, just we hold a higher responsibility than a lot of people. And I don't mean us, I mean Christians in general.
Yeah.
Our actions can very well lead to other people doing things and turning away from the Lord if we aren't careful in the way we go about it. That's something I had to realize recently too. Just me trying to be better, doing all of this.
Yeah.
Trying to control my tongue especially. But a lot of my people believe in the Lord, but they don't follow the Lord.
Yeah.
And it's just scary to see or to think about what my actions could do to their walk.
Yeah.
With them seeing me trying to do the best I can for the Lord. And then they see me doing something I shouldn't be doing or hear me saying something I shouldn't be saying. And they turn around and do it and think that they're okay with the Lord until judgment day comes and they get cast into the pit. And that's really scary to me. I don't know.
I get that. Yeah. And we're not all called to be perfect.
No, we're going to struggle. We're going to have those temptations and those sins that we struggle with every single day, and they're going to come back up in our lives. But we have to realize that we have to repent from those. We have to know that we have to turn away from those.
It's just a daily walk of realizing, oh, I've been doing this wrong. Now I need to change it.
Yep.
So what you're saying about not causing your brother to stumble was 1 Corinthians 8. I had a preacher tell me one time, because obviously this thing had a hold on me, is it a sin to drink? I wanted to know that from, a preacher's perspective, what he had to say. So just simply for ammunition so I could run back home and tell my wife, see, it's not a sin to drink, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Probably more from an excuse standpoint.
Yeah.
But 1 Corinthians 8:9 says, be careful, however, that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. And that's what you're saying as far as, you know, you might only be your second beer, but I might come by and my wife might not be a strong Christian and know the Bible, and me say, see, it's not a sin to drink. Let's go get drunk.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about that too, because you never know
You
who's
never
watching
know.
you. You never know who's watching you, walking by you, noticing you drinking that beer. Like, that really is a scary thing. It's like someone could see that and be like, oh, it's fine for me to do this. And that could be what leads them into, maybe they aren't alcoholic, but then that leads them into it because they think that it's okay. And then that could lead into that being a stronghold for them for the rest of their life. And it's like,
And that goes with anything.
anything. It
Honestly.
doesn't even have to be just alcohol. That's like,
It could be like you said, like with your tongue. It could be with how you treat
Anger.
others, like disrespect, pride, stuff like that. So,
anger and
It
patience.
could be with people that look up to you, like younger youth. I know we all have siblings. Y'all are in youth. I coach the youth, so you could see one of your players or like a member of youth or a brother or sister that's younger than you, and they could see you struggling with that temptation, and they may think that that's okay. That is normalized to do that. So that's why you got to always be aware of who's around you and living for the ways of the Lord instead of living of worldly ways.
Yeah.
Well,
like that.
and I feel like, you know, when I quit drinking and I got serious, I got for real, you know, God, you know, use me, show me the way. I'm going to listen to you. Not only did my marriage flourish, you know, tenfold, but, you know, my wife doesn't have anxiety
Amen.
anymore.
Yeah.
You know, she's not worried about me out drinking. Am I going to die on the
Safe,
way
yeah.
home?
Being safe.
Am I doing something stupid that might reflect on her? So my marriage, outside of that, you know, finances, how much money are you spending at these bars? How much money are you spending at these events on alcohol?
Yeah, that one.
You
It's
don't,
pricey too.
you
They're
don't
not cheap.
really realize it when you're in it. And I mean, that's why it is what it is. That's why it's the way of the world, you
It
know,
feels good, and it's like that's all
And-
you care about.
and it feels good.
Yeah.
But man, I'm telling you, take it from me. I've been there. It ain't cool.
Love that.
You talking about
Preach to 'em, bro.
finances. Proverbs 23:21 says, for drunkards and gluttons become poor, and drowsiness clothes them in rags. So I can attest to that. At them Carolina games, but I was spending
$20 a
I'm
beer.
telling you, they were $14 a beer. I'd probably drinking 8 or 9 of them a game.
Exactly.
That comes up quick.
Yeah, you leave there with a hole in your pocket.
You go to a bar, you'll spend a $150 tab easy.
Easy.
You won't even know. Yeah.
And you won't know it until the next morning. You look like, but where did all my money go? And
Your drunk self.
that's it. And it ain't even got to be with beer though. You can go out and eat. And you I mean, just
If you're just over gluttonous.
that's it. If you can't just be okay with one meal. Me, I used to go to McDonald's and get 2 Big Macs and a quarter pounder, and that is the truth. 2 Big Macs and a quarter pounder, and I'd spend $30 on myself eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, while yes, it's wrong, it could also kill your finances.
Yeah.
I mean, and you as in this world, you need money too. I mean, let's just be real. The love of money is the root of evil. Money is not the root of evil. It's when you start making it an idol. You need money to live.
Yeah, that's right.
And being gluttonous, being to where you can't just be okay with certain things, like just one of something. You can't moderate.
Yeah.
It'll kill your finances. So I think while yes, it can kill you spiritually, you also have to look at it from a place of, especially us being men, being
Providers.
providers and stuff like that. You have to be real careful with overspending. You just can't moderate. That's it. Overconsumption. You have to be able to moderate with everything, because we've talked a lot about alcohol, but it's really you can be gluttonous over anything.
Yeah.
It's gonna
You
make you suffer from
That's it.
goals.
You can have addiction to anything. It doesn't have to just be alcohol. Can we talk about how, like, with that gluttony, it can reflect in your physical health and your just well-being?
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't really personally attest to like food, but I've seen like countless videos of like people overeating because like that's their thing they suffer with. Like they like can't, like they can eat 2 pizzas for like a snack.
Yeah.
And then they get to like,
Yeah.
like no judgment. There's one YouTube video. I watched this weightlifting guy's name, Will Tennyson, but he follows this dude who's trying to lose a lot of weight. He started off like 500, 600 pounds. And he was talking about how like he suffered through a lot of depression, anxiety. And the only thing that would help him get through that, he thought he would be literally eating himself to death. And like he could barely stand. And I mean, you could just see it in TV shows like My 600 Pound Life. Like people,
that's the way they cope.
Yeah, they get on the show and like they can't even like move because they just overeat. And I mean, like that's just one aspect. There's multiple aspects. Like, you know, people dying from like overconsumption of alcohol, overdosing on drugs, just things of that nature, and how it can affect them like physically, mentally, and like ultimately, like you said, like you probably would be dead by now if you didn't get the help that you needed.
Yeah.
And that goes to anybody, but you know.
And I mean, just for me, as far as physically, I've lost 20 pounds since I quit drinking, and that's just in beer. I mean, I didn't do anything different but quit drinking beer.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel better. Like I said, my time is so much better. But overconsumption, like overeating, like you're talking about, diabetes, all the food that we have nowadays. I mean, a lot of people aren't eating; they're eating processed stuff, and it's just garbage.
I would say a flip side too is like weightlifting, like people over consuming steroids, you know, stuff like that. Like I saw one dude, this dude was like 25 and obviously was jacked, looked amazing, died.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. He's 25. Still 2 years older than me. And he's because of steroids.
Yeah.
That's
well, and then even if you're not on steroids, when you're trying to bulk, I mean, you're force feeding yourself.
You know, thinking like prime Ronnie Coleman days, dude. He's like eating 8,000.
Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah. He's eating like all this food and he's like, oh, I'm bulking. Trying to get big. And I'm like,
well, we only get one body and we just treat it as our temple.
Yeah, and that's true.
And a lot of those big bodybuilders nowadays are like, they're, you know, in their old age and they're struggling to even move right.
Can't even get out of bed. Like it's crazy. And it's like that becomes their idol. It's like, I just got to do whatever it takes to get bigger, get stronger.
Be the biggest, be strongest.
Yeah. And I mean, steroids is a scary thing that there's a lot of young people that take steroids now, like a lot. They start out at 18.
Yeah.
And by the time
like,
they're 20,
the only way I'm going to be able to get that big is steroids.
Yeah. Like they just, that's the only way for me to look that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a scary thing. Dude.
I feel like that's just living a life of never being satisfied. You always got to have something better.
Yeah. Always got to be bigger. Always got to be something.
Something that helps me is trying to have humility too. Like obviously I want to be the biggest and the strongest, but there's always bigger fish.
You need to be humble in yourself too.
Yeah.
You're not that guy.
Yeah,
right? You're not that guy.
Yeah. So it's like, I want to be big, but I'm not trying to be the biggest because there's always bigger fish. Yeah. And so it's like, there's really no point in me trying to like shortcut that lifestyle because like people like the guy at 25 take steroids and like over consuming in that.
Well, I mean, and I think that's what it is too, is instant gratification. You don't want to work that long, you know, and get it naturally or whatever. It's the instant gratification. Like, I can get big, but man, I get bigger way faster.
If I
get this TRT.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, it's kind of similar to like our walk with the Lord. I mean, it's not something that's going to be super instantaneous.
Yeah, you can't shortcut that.
I mean, that can happen. He can take it all away and like you never struggle with it again. I mean,
everybody has
you can't put anything past him.
The same process.
But that's like like I've heard of an analogy where it's called spiritual sweat, and it's when you're building your discipline, the only way that you can build it is by working on it. Like it's the same thing as working out and getting bigger, you're getting stronger. You have to constantly be in the gym working and working out that muscle. Yeah. And the only way to build your discipline is to work on it. Read the word, pray, just talk to the Lord, build that relationship with him. And I mean, getting that spiritual sweat is what leads you to being stronger in your faith. And
I love that, Nick.
It's just, I've kind of
spiritual sweat.
Yeah, spiritual sweat. Man.
And by you like quitting drinking and doing that every single day, that shows people it's a process and it takes time to do it. It's not just like, it doesn't happen instantly.
And well, like I told my wife, you know, I don't want to be a 25-year-old guy and not be able to, you know, go to a football game, go to a Carolina game, or go golf with my buddies, or go out on the lake for a day. You know, like we're young. We want to be around friends. We want to be doing stuff, but we can do that without alcohol, right? And so now I get to go golfing with my buddies. And like you're saying, the spiritual sweat thing, after a while, they're like, you sure you don't want a beer? You sure you don't want a beer? Now they don't even ask me, do you want a beer? Because they know. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need a beer. I got my sparkling water.
Yep.
Dude, my health has gotten way better.
Yeah.
Way better since I quit drinking.
Praise the Lord for
I like
that.
the spiritual sweat thing. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna steal that.
What you got, P-Dog?
While I was studying about gluttony, I came across this. Me and Pastor Trey were talking when was it, Friday night? And we were talking about gluttony and stuff. And one of the things that he brought up was Sodom and Gomorrah. And we look at Sodom and Gomorrah, and the only thing that we think of was their homosexuality. But after deep diving it and talking to him, this was what it says. In Ezekiel 16, verse 49 says, "Behold, this was the guilt of your sister Sodom, and she and her daughters had pride, excess of food, which was gluttony, and prosperous ease, but did not aid the poor and needy. They were haughty and did abomination before me, so I removed them when I saw it." So here I use, whenever I study scripture and stuff, I use Logos, which is pretty much every pastor in America uses it. And so I put it in like, does gluttony apply to Sodom and Gomorrah? And so it says this, and it does have AI, but it only uses their sources. So it's not like AI actually thinking, it's only like their sources. So it says this: however, understanding gluttony's role requires recognizing how ancient interpreters connected it to broader moral failure, which was a first century Jewish philosopher argued that gluttony naturally leads to sexual excess. When people indulge in rich food and wine, they lose self-restraint and hasting to gratifications. They reveal and disturb the doors. In this framework, gluttony wasn't merely about overeating. It represented a cascade of moral, whatever that word is, where physical indulgence eroded the capacity for self-control. Mm-hmm. So their gluttony of food actually led to their more well-known sin.
And I mean, that's facts. If you're going to compromise and be like, oh, we're overindulging this thing, then it's just going to be a trickle effect to everything else.
Yeah. Anything that eats away at your self-control it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good for you.
I would say on a more personal note, kind of how you related to your friend. I'd like, when I would smoke marijuana, I wouldn't need it to eat.
Yeah.
But like,
when it made it taste better.
Yeah, exactly. When I would plant it, I like
never taste better.
Yeah, that munchy shit. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And like, obviously the overindulgence in that led to the overindulgence in the food, and then obviously more money being bled out. It's that third. So and my time being spent doing that, because I could have spent that time furthering my relationship with the Lord, and I didn't. So
or hanging out with me, bro.
That's right.
I do have another question for Daulton. Trying to word it in my head, my brain speaking faster than my mouth is. But what would you tell people that are still struggling with the same thing that you've struggled with, that they feel that they were saved, but they feel like they've drifted away from God and feel like they're too far away from God?
You're never too far away. You're never too far away. Find that community. Mm-hmm. Find those like-minded guys that want a relationship with God. Mm-hmm. That I promise you, in your community somewhere, you can find someone, whether that be a guy or a girl, whatever, whoever. Yeah. Find a mentor, find a role model, somebody you look up to. Yeah. Not that they're perfect and they got it all together, but they're trying. Mm-hmm. Not just picture perfect or whatever, but get advice from him. Find that community. Find those people that can do the things that you like to do without drinking. Or, if you're into music, find those guys that can be about music, not smoking weed or whatever. Mm-hmm. Community is a huge part of it. Community can make you or break you. Like you said, surround yourself with those people that don't do those things, or that do those things that you are wanting. Yeah. And serve. I spent a lot of my time serving at the church. I didn't have time to go drink with my buddies anymore. You know, I kind of stepped away from that and started using my time in a more fulfilling manner,
I like that.
serving at the church and stuff like that. Right. So I feel like anything is definitely after that first week, it wasn't like I didn't still want a beer. In fact, I wanted beer more than ever. I started seeing beer prices and sales at Texas Roadhouse. The things I didn't used to notice, I started noticing a whole lot more. Oh, the Modelo's are only $6 for a draft Modelo. Like those things really start jumping out at you, you know? And it's like, that's funny. You know, me and my wife was like, you know, it's funny you never noticed that stuff before. Now you're noticing it. You know, once you take a step back, kind of outside looking in. But yeah, you're never too far. You're never too far gone, ever.
Never.
I think another thing too is like there's no sin or struggle that Jesus' death didn't cover.
Right,
And he's
100%.
like he'll be able to help you through anything, and he covered all that for you. There's no struggle that you're going to be like, oh, I'm not worthy enough. Like he's not going to look at you and be like, oh yeah, I didn't die for that. Sorry, like you're on your own.
Well, and I think the thing of it is too, right, is, you know, God could have took the desire for drinking away from me whenever, right? But it's part of my story. It's part of my testimony now.
Yes.
I might can help others that are struggling with the same thing. It was, you know, it took me acknowledging it. It was God's timing, and now I can use that. So you're never too far gone, you know, whether it's drugs, alcohol, we've all heard it in church. You know, you're never too far gone. You're really not. It could just be a part of your testimony or story. As long as you still got breath in your lungs that God gave you, you have something to be thankful for, and you have a testimony that you can share with others.
Yeah. He's always working.
I was gonna say that's another thing too. Like it doesn't matter how far you run. Like you could just be running, and not even pay attention to how long it's been. But as soon as you do realize it and you turn around, he's standing right there. Right there. That's all it takes. Is you turning around, and he's just standing there waiting on you. You never outrun his love and his forgiveness and his grace. I mean, you can run till you're 50 years old, and if you turn around, all it takes is just that decision to turn around and face him, and he's going to be right there.
That's right. And now God's using me. God has fulfilled my marriage. Me and my wife financially have just, you know, I've always wanted money, all that. Well, it wasn't until we started trying to live sanctified lives and tithing and giving our offerings and giving everything up to God that God started blessing me, because he's not going to bless you living a life in sin, right? Because I would have just spent it in booze or whatever, you know, having fun. But now God has blessed us. Our finances are way better. God's using my talents. I'm playing instruments at church. Me and my wife help with the youth at church. We're super fulfilled in our time and our lives. And it's not that we're too good that we can't still hang out with people or, you know, be around those people that drink. We still definitely hang around people that do drink and stuff like that. But, you know, it's not a part of who we are anymore because we want to live sanctified lives.
You have a stronger foundation now.
Right.
And with you living a sanctified life, it's showing those others that were your friends, that are still your friends, that may still indulge in that old life, that there is a new life, that they don't have to live like that they can see it through yourself.
And now you can live as the light of the world and kind of just shine like a light for them, and they can see Christ through you. And that very well could be the thing that changes their course. And that's what could lead to them turning around and facing the Lord. And that's what I think is very cool about testimonies, is in a sense where it's such a personal story every time. Like nobody's testimony is the exact same.
Right.
Like everybody, the time of it, the length, how it happened, if it reached rock bottom, any of that, it's all in God's plan because he knows that he's using it to share with others. And I think that's like, I think you have a very, very powerful message, and it resonates with a lot of people.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. I love you, dude.
Love you, man.
We've been talking a lot about gluttony, but not sloth yet. And we're almost an hour into this episode. So,
got him.
So I do want to hit sloth for a little bit, if that's okay with everybody.
No,
Okay.
I'm playing. Yeah,
So whenever we say sloth, it's not the animal, by the way. Whenever we talk about sloth, it's not the animal.
Not Sid?
It refers to laziness, idleness, or unwillingness to work or act, and especially in spiritual or moral matters.
Mhm.
So it becomes a sinful attitude when a person avoids work or responsibility, lacks motivation or discipline, and neglects their duties to God and others. So how have each and every single one of y'all encountered sloth?
Well, I would say for me, it was like when I was really deep in my sin and like drinking, smoking, cussing, like doing whatever I wanted. Like I was a believer in the back of my head. I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I didn't have like the like you said, the motivation to really like change it. I was being lazy about it. Like I was just doing it just because
Mm-hmm.
I felt
It's
like
like,
doing
oh, I'll
it.
have time later.
Yeah, literally. Like when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, when I'm older, like when like I have a family, this is that and the third, I'll get serious about my faith, and that's just being like ultimately, like you said, lazy. Like
Well,
no
lazy and
motivation.
prideful.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
fact that you think that the Lord will allow you more time
Yeah.
to do anything, it don't matter. Oh, I'm not gonna get out of bed right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just wait. I ain't got to do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Who just tell you that as soon as you step out that bed, you ain't gonna fall, hit your head on something and die?
Yeah.
I mean, and I hate to be that person. That's just the truth.
Yeah. Who's to say you won't?
Have a heart
Not
attack
wake
in the
up.
bed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I think laziness is dangerous.
It is.
Coming from somebody who just didn't. When I was younger, I say younger. When I probably last year, if I didn't have to do it, it wasn't getting done. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the truth.
Mhm.
And some of that's part of ADHD and whatever. But like, if it didn't have to get done, it wasn't getting done.
Mhm.
I always thought, oh, I'll do it later, and then later turned into me forgetting to do it. But
Yeah.
that's just, it's real dangerous to not do what you need to do in case you can't get it done.
Yeah. I would say another thing too, kind of going back to the whole gym stuff, because I just love the gym. If you get lazy and you decide to like cut off reps or like cut off days of working out, you're not going to really see your results. Like you're actually going to decline and like, this, that, and third. So like treating our, like you said, it's treating our spirit and our relationship with God in that way. If we get lazy, then it's just going to decrease.
Yeah.
And we're not going to have such a strong relationship with him as when we were putting in the work and not being lazy.
Yeah.
And that's just going to lead to a whole other plethora of things that's going to cause us probably go back into sin and this is that and the third. So I view it that way. But I mean, it's a struggle. Not being lazy is a struggle because it's so easy to be lazy.
For me, I've never really been the lazy type of guy.
Yeah.
In fact, quite opposite. I always have to be doing something.
Mhm.
Like
Same.
something.
Staying busy.
If it's raining and I can't golf, like I gotta be doing something. So I've never really struggled with like the sloth aspect. Now, what I can say I've struggled with is prioritizing my time. Like what's more important, like golf or God or hanging out with buddies or God, or church or an event at the church. And one thing that I've quickly came to realize is that when you are in ministry of some sort or you help out with ministry in some way, man, like it becomes a job. Like running to church, being at church. We live 40 minutes from church. So we're at church like 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah.
Give or take 6 or 7 times.
Yeah.
And
That's about an hour and 20 minutes, like every day just spent.
yeah, and but you get burnt out at that as well. But God will fill you back up so you can continue to pour out into other people. And, it's just created so many opportunities, man. I'm telling you, if you ain't got nothing to do with your time, give it to God.
Yep.
And he'll reward you for that.
I would say kind of going off that too, like one of my busiest days in the week is Sunday because church, podcast, and doing youth.
Yeah.
And so like, especially having a girlfriend at the same time, we kind of agree sometimes during Sundays, it's hard to kind of like connect and have our own time together. But we both agree like Sundays is our most favorite day out of the week.
Yeah.
Right.
Just because we get so spiritually fed on that
much
day,
so.
Right.
even though we're so busy. Like you said, he just feels
Right. You're getting poured into.
Exactly.
Right.
I think my personal aspect of it, talking about laziness, like I think it's a huge form of disobedience. And for me, like even up to recently, there's a lot of times where I'll feel like the Lord's calling me to do something, and I'll kind of I'll stand there and think on it, and I'll just wait until someone else does it because I don't feel qualified enough to do it. And so then I just kind of sit and wait and watch and just like somebody else will do it. Like it'll get done. And
Felt that.
one of the things that I've been trying to just tell myself is when situations come up, like just step out, like just do it. Like it doesn't matter how it goes, just do it and trust.
Get out of
in
that
the Lord.
comfort zone.
And like he will provide. And so one of those times was like when Dylan came for young adults, like there were multiple times where I just felt like I was supposed to be doing something. And the thought was there is like, I could just sit here and wait and just let somebody else do it. But I chose to just obey that and just go like, you know what, I'm gonna go do it. Because someone may need me to step out in this moment. And like, that's the scary thing is if I chose to be lazy and just be a bystander and hope that somebody else would do it and they didn't do it, like there could be someone in there that could have met the Lord and didn't meet him.
In a way, you're not only condemning yourself, but you could possibly.
And you're also someone else is missing out. And it's something that I struggle with for a long time because I mean, it goes a lot into like my family past and everything. But I would just always kind of sit back and like hope somebody else would do it. And like I'd be too scared or feel too unqualified to do it. And like that's kind of the form of laziness that I've struggled with is like it'll get done, but it just won't be by me. And so
someone else can do that.
it's definitely something that I feel like I've gotten way better about here recently in the past couple of months, like of just saying yes to anything the Lord brings. And if I feel called to do it, like I'm just like, all right, I'll do it. Let's do it. Like just go for it. Just dive straight in and just trust in Him. Because I mean, He will fill us and He'll provide. Like, because He doesn't call. Oh, I'm not even going to try and say I just lost it.
He doesn't call the qualified. He doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called.
There you go.
Yep.
But
I cut myself off because I thought it was
that's all right.
You got
So,
it.
I think something that's really big in our generation, especially, is sitting there and doom scrolling.
Yes.
Oh,
Like I know me, but when I start,
That's over.
I got this thing on my phone now, or if I'm on it for longer than 15 minutes, like if I'm on Instagram or TikTok just scrolling for longer than 15 minutes, it'll pop up and say screen tap. And so like it'll make me think. I realize, oh, I've been sitting here way too long. So I just put it up. But that's what I had to do because it was stopping me from doing a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all do, but I'll lose track of time at a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Like I'll be sitting there and I'll look at my phone, it'll be 2 hours gone.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
my eyes be dry. I'm like,
that's it. I've been wiping my eyes. I had to get up out of bed. But
And that's why it's there too.
that's it. Yeah.
Entertainment's there to
That's it.
numb us and to distract us. It's just
100%.
throwing out distractions to keep you from spending time with the Lord.
Well, unless you're on the phone with somebody in some way or social media, how many people can you really reach?
Exactly.
You know, unless you're, and like you said, odds are we're on our phone doom scrolling or playing video games or whatever. Odds are we're not trying to study scripture or preach to anybody or, you know, try and introduce anybody to God. So,
And even just in a social aspect, like families, like people, when you get home, everyone's just sitting there on their phone, just scrolling, texting. And that's like, there's some people that'll text each other in the same room. And like, you could just go talk to them in person. Like,
or not even that.
And like some,
like 15 feet apart.
Like some people in the younger generation, they physically cannot have a conversation with someone face to face.
Yeah. Getting
Like
into
they
the
I'll be doing that for real, not even gonna lie.
But like some people, they don't have any social skills because all they've done is text on social media or like Snapchat or things like that. And like, it's a scary thing because that too is a form of laziness. Like you could call somebody on the phone and have a real conversation with them instead of just.
No, I used to be like that. I used to be like, I don't want to call. I just want to text.
Yeah.
Like if I'm on a phone call, I'm freaking out. I can't do it.
And it creates anxiety. It creates anxiety for a lot of people too because they get socially anxious and it's like they can't sit here and like just do this, just sit and talk.
Now I'm kind of the opposite. I'm like, this is too much. I'm just
I hate texting at this
Don't
point.
send me a big old paragraph because you ain't getting a paragraph back from
you
me.
either get
better
a
just
voice
call
note
me.
or a phone call, but you ain't getting no book.
I'm telling you, you get a reaction.
I'm one of those guys. Like I'm just gonna pull up. I'll be there in 10 minutes. We'll talk when I get there.
Pitch an 8-ball. That's what you get.
Yeah, I feel like with the phone and social media and that stuff, like kids this generation and this day and time think it's a priority and it's okay. It's normalized. Like their parents will give them the phone and be like, here, you can take the phone so you're not bothering me. Like, no, steward your child. Be there for them.
Yeah.
Teach them the word. Be a mentor for them. Show up for them. Don't just give them the phone and tell them just to go away. Like, show up for your kids.
Because it's numbing them too at the
It
same
is,
time.
yeah. It's showing them that's okay. And then when they get older, how are they going to be able to share the word? They're not even going to know it.
Because the world normalizes it, like
Yeah.
you said.
Mm-hmm.
And like we've been talking
Three
about.
things. One, going off of what you said about parents like discipling our kids. Whenever the Israelites were wandering in the wilderness, there was a generation that had no knowledge of God. And the reason why is because their parents didn't take time to teach their kids about who God is.
Yep.
And it's so important, especially in today's time, that yes, we do have technology to help us study the Bible, but to actually disciple each other to learn the scripture. And that's actually the Great Commission, is make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And we stick with that verse, but we don't go to verse 20, which is teach them all that you know.
Yeah.
And we skip that all the time.
Love
so-
Pastor Parson.
All right, he's speaking.
The other thing is sloth. I think of the parable of the talents. Where the master,
Yeah, that's the one I think of too.
one servant had 5 talent, was given 5 talents. He gained 10 more. One servant was gained 2. He gained 4. Then one servant hid
It
it.
chills when he says that one part.
And it's just like, God has given you this ability, these gifts. How are you profiting this for the kingdom? Because your experience in heaven is going to be different compared to others, depending on how
yeah.
you live out your faith. Are you bearing it? Does nobody know that you are saved? Or are you profiting like the five talent servant who was given 5 talents and profited to get 10 more? And where was it? Verse 26, it says this. But his master answered him, "You wicked and slothy servant, you knew that I weep where I have not sown, and gather where I scattered no seed."
Wicked and slothful.
Yeah.
Wow.
You gotta use them two in the same back to back like that.
With the 2 things, wicked and slothful.
Yeah.
Well, just imagine you get up to heaven and he's, not only is he like, "Damn, I know you, like depart from me," and he's like, "Yeah, you wicked and slothful."
Well, not even that, dude. This is the thing. If we're gonna be held accountable, well, not if, when we're held accountable
Yeah.
for every action, and you know in your heart, like I struggle with this when I feel like the Lord's telling me to talk to people all the time. And I do. I talk to a lot of people, but I mean just
You do.
yeah, like I'll talk to
You be talking to
everybody.
everybody.
But just randomly, like I'll see somebody walking in a store one time and I feel like the Lord's telling me to talk to them. And I'd be like, "Nah, that ain't the Lord." Well, what if that conversation that we'd have had would have planted a seed and then he'd have got saved, and then now that I didn't, I get to heaven and he asked me, "Why didn't you talk to him?" That could have been one more you brought to the kingdom. Not that I brought, but that he brought to the kingdom. And
But
Well, what if that
you
person-
disobeyed that?
that's
What
it.
if they're like questioning their faith, if God's real or not, and you had that chance to go talk to them and you don't go and do it? Then yeah, I definitely relate with that too, all the time.
That's
I feel
just-
that conviction hitting and the Lord telling me to go speak to this person, but I don't feel like I'm equipped to do it.
Well, crazy story. Plug my wife here. This is her. She was at Zaxby's just a couple of months ago, actually. And she seen this lady come in and she felt a tug on her heart to pray for her. Opposite for her, she was feeling down about work and she was going through some stuff, and she seen a lady and she got the tug on her heart to ask this lady to pray for her,
Gotcha.
and she ignored it. Well, the lady and her started talking anyway, and they got to talking, and my wife said, "I'm from King Street," and she said, "I don't know anything about King Street except for one time I broke down and this young man prayed for me.
Don't.
And this young man prayed for me. That's the only time I've ever been to King Street." That's
But I just got chills, believe it or not. I'm
that's
telling you.
chills, bro. That's how God works.
It's amazing.
Wanted a lady to pray for her and didn't take action, and that's just God being like, "I told you, like you like listen to me."
Yeah, here I'm knocking at the door.
Yeah, listen
Come on
to
and
me.
let me in.
So you never know what somebody's going through or what's on their heart or on their minds. So yeah, don't ignore those voices.
Yeah. And that's like,
Don't
I feel
question
like like one step of disobedience could trickle down and lead to more and more and more and more until
And then the
where
opposite.
you just don't even know it.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
that's a scary thing.
Be like Jonah and try and run from it.
Yeah.
How'd that end up, buddy?
Yeah.
Got swallowed up by a giant fish.
He's all right. Let's calm down for about a few days.
Yeah.
Then I'll let you go
Let's
back.
give you some time to
Yeah.
think, bud.
Think you want to go back now? yeah, I'll go.
Yep. You got it.
Anyway, I think we've
Actually, Jonah being swallowed by the giant fish, not to interrupt you, it's a picture of Jesus resurrecting.
Huh?
Talk to me now.
It's a picture of Jesus being buried in the tomb and then resurrecting because Jonah was in the fish for 3 days.
it
So
was-
you saying-
I was about to say 3 days.
And
I was
then-
like, I don't know if that's right. Let me just say a few.
And then later in the book of Matthew, Jesus talking to who was he talking to? He was talking to either the Pharisees or his disciples, and he goes, as in the day of Jonah. Hold on, let me see if I can find this verse.
Well, let me ask you before while you find this
about
verse.
as of the days in Jonah, so will the Son of Man be buried in the earth and rise up 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you. So it's like it's talking about Jesus, or Jesus talking about that, reference to that. But what you're saying is Jonah died to his sins, like Jesus died for ours, and it took 3 days and came back.
Basically,
That's insane.
I bet you had a little change of heart as well.
Oh, 100%. I would. I'm sitting in the belly of a fish. Oh no.
I'd be terrified.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna try and get out. I don't know about y'all.
It
but
stinks too. You know it stinks.
Mm-mm.
That's reminding me of the deep fake video.
I know, that's what I'm thinking of.
I'm in the belly of a
Yo, what's up, guys?
Oh, well,
Anyway, no, I love that actually. I would rather you cut me off and say that than not.
and the book of Hosea is the picture of Jesus too.
Well, we'll have to get into that.
This guy wants to preach so bad. Just do it, bro. If you're being called, preach.
we get it, Parson. You're going to be a minister. We get it. We get it. Well, again,
That can be another time
yeah,
because that's
Okay.
too deep.
that could be another time.
He's be humble and nonchalant.
That's right. Real nonchalant king over here.
Nonchalant king.
I guess we're saying as we're coming to the end of this episode, Daulton, we really appreciate you and how your story can impact others that may be listening to this video. How you were able to overcome that sin and that temptation that you were dealing with, that life was throwing at you, and you were just able to give it to the Lord. All praise to the Lord for him being able to do that in your life.
And that's all I can wrap up and say. Like, man, God is good.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good. He's been so good to me. And it's never too late.
No.
And just be obedient to him, grow a relationship, and work on it daily. It's a daily struggle. I'm not perfect. Temptation still creeps in.
Mhm.
Got to pick up your cross daily.
You know, you got to die to your flesh. And man, God is so good, and He's working through me to others. I thank y'all for allowing me to come share my testimony
Yeah, man.
and
Of course.
potentially impact others. And thank y'all for being a part of my testimony as well, being great dudes, well-rounded dudes that have a love for God and want to be more like God. So thanks for the community, fellas.
Oh, yeah, brother.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Love
Also, once again, if you haven't checked out any of our previous episodes, give us a check out. This is kind of getting to the end of our Overcoming Sin series, but we got a few more episodes coming out. If you haven't checked out our Love Above All series or our Story Behind the Mics, please go check this out. We're trying to build up this podcast and just generate God's word out to the public and people who may not know the Lord.
Amen.
And Nick,
else you
where can you reach our episodes?
Tell them, Nick. Tell them.
You can reach our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Instagram.
Love
That's
that,
right.
Nick.
Yep.
Hey,
Yes, sir.
he getting it down. Getting it down.
Next time, let's go.
Anyway, yep.
We out. Thanks for
God
watching this
bless.
episode. God bless. Peace.
Later. Yeah.